Make sure you label it too.
If it'll
the,
let me.
The YouTube feed. Hold on. Hall of Fame live action animals.
It does not let me label it. It just says Culture Clash 179 because that's what.
It doesn't allow you to rename it.
Yeah, it comes up Culture Clash 179. That's all it comes up as. Because it's probably the name of the meeting. It's pulling it by the name of the Zoom meeting.
Ah, so you have to then edit the Zoom meeting then next time. Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
And there is just so you know, I had to mute my YouTube, but there is a delay. Don't get yourself caught watching the YouTube video because there's a delay.
Oh, I know that. Yep. Let me know when you go live.
We are live. We should be live.
Oh, yeah? Okay. Live on YouTube. Let's see here. There we go. All right. There we go. 179 live. All right, let's go to live. Ooh, nope. Ooh, we can have subtitles. I want to go to the live chat. There we go.
Okay. So what I'm going to try here is I'm actually going to take the link from the live chat and try to put it on Facebook right now.
Oh, you can do that?
I'm going to see.
All right.
For those of you who, well, I think it's only you and me watching at the moment. So
I think we got someone watching, or maybe it's just me.
I think it's.
It's probably me. There we go.
Okay. Oh yes, it will put the live feed showing on Facebook.
Cool.
I think so. It might just be an image snippet.
Let's see.
Yeah, it just takes an image shot. So, but I'm gonna try something. Create post. Watch party. Live.
It's weird seeing all these pictures of me on my video. Do I have recording privilege on Zoom, by the way?
I have not got to that yet.
Okay. How do I share this? This would be cool. Let's see here. Oops. Quality. Captions off. All right. We got someone else looking. Hi. We're going to be starting in about 5 minutes, guys. Feel free to chat in the YouTube chat, guys. Watch in VR. Ooh.
Oh yeah, probably. I think there's a YouTube VR app for YouTube.
So how do I share it here? Where's the share thing here? I want to make sure I get this out there. There we go. Let's go to hang in there, guys. We're starting shortly.
For the
Okay, I'm tweeting at
your co-host, so you already have
awesome
on Zoom. So
cool.
Couple more minutes. TikTok.
Oops.
Talking Yoda in the house.
All right, I'm going to Twitter, guys. Going to Twitter. All right. There we go.
Okay, well, we'll be starting in just a minute here. Yeah, get your popcorn, get your drinks, put your tray table in the upright position.
There we go. All right. Okay. You're right, Adam. Yoda does need to take over. All right, let me go ahead. Do you want to hit record now?
Sorry, Yoda's stuff, stealing the mic. Yep. I'm gonna hit record on Zoom first.
All right, I'll do that now.
And now launching my individual track.
Well done, by the way, Kyle. Well done.
Thank you, sir. You got your drink in?
I got my water.
Yeah, are you sure that's not poison?
It will be by the end of this episode if it goes bad.
You can only hope. Okay, are you ready, sir?
Oh, let me hit my individual recording here. Hold on.
I don't work with professionals, I tell you.
Come on, man. All right. Let's see here. Got that going there. All right. Both recordings going. Let's do this. YouTube Live. Welcome.
Yes. Let's just shall we start this off the proper way, just for my own editing purposes too.
Yes, of course.
I do have to do a podcast of this. So 3, 2, 1, clap. Well, apparently we didn't get kicked off the internet last week for our Facebook Live experiment, Kevin.
We did not, but we got some nice encouragement.
If you want to call it that. I got some weird Taiwan messages and stuff like that. Something about you needing to go back to China or something like that.
Do you have to give money to some Indian prince or something like that?
No, but they were asking me about the seeds you got.
Oh yeah. Hey, I can't see you when you lean over in front of your mic, man. Come on, we need to see your beautiful face there.
Nah,
so
see, there's much better.
Doing this.
Here, wait. There we go. That's what
there we go. That's good. Baby Yoda.
So
my Yoda over there.
We are at Culture Clash 179, the first live YouTube on the new Fandom Podcast Network YouTube channel. We're sorry, as always.
well, we got a lot more going, and we got a couple people in here right now. First of all, thank you, Adam O'Brien, our fellow Fandom Podcast Network friend, co-host, of course, of Lethal Mullet Podcast, and co-host of Making Treks. And we got Lurker ERS says, yay, didn't miss the start. So welcome. You guys are the first.
Yeah, we apologize in advance, as always.
So we're on YouTube, dude. We're on YouTube. This is it. We're going to do more shows, right? Not just Culture Clash. We'll do some other shows.
Yeah, we're going to try to get some of the podcasts up here as well. We're going to do more shows here, and we're going to try to do some exclusive YouTube content as well. So look for that. We're talking to people. We're making waves. We're lucky if we make a ripple. But Kevin, I got to ask you too. Have you explored any blue holes in the ocean lately?
Had to ask you this morning what that was. No, I have not. But I'm afraid this is like some Pacific Rim type stuff going on here.
What are you're afraid of a sweet little kaiju?
They're not sweet.
Hey, Godzilla protects the Earth. Come on now, man.
Okay, so what's happened with these blue holes? Tell us about this.
People have they've popped up and they're like these dark blue holes, and people are trying to figure out what the heck's going on
in the depths of the ocean, right?
In the depths of the ocean.
Yes.
It's 2020. Do we really want to go there in 2020?
No. There's a lot of things that we want to do. So yeah.
No, I'm thinking 2020. Not a good idea. Let's just hold off till 2021. Yeah. We got the astronauts from SpaceX back safely, so thankful for that. So
that's true. Yeah.
But you know what? We are here. We are doing Culture Clash live, and it's Culture Clash episode 179. And of course, this is your home on the Fandom Podcast Network for fandom news, reviews, and whatever crazy stuff Reitzel comes up with. Because not me. It's never me. So, Kev, are you ready to do YouTube live?
Yeah, I'm ready to do YouTube live, man. You want to do some contact? I'll do some contact information here, which that'll be good.
No. Remember, we're live, but we still have a podcast format to follow too.
This is true. Sorry.
Yes. Don't go superstar on me yet. Don't make me knock you down a peg with Baby Yoda talking at you.
Yoda will knock everyone down a peg.
I will tell him you're a biker scout.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Sorry.
Jason Sudeikis. That's Jason Sudeikis. Yeah, I know. Big bad Kevin. We're just gonna go with that. So without further ado, like Baby Yoda just said, let's do this thing. Now, Kevin, would you care to tell the people where they can find this live edition of Culture Clash later on down the line?
Well, as Adam would say, Kyle is the YouTube master. So yes, we are new on YouTube. Please head over to YouTube. Let's start right there. If you're listening to this instead of watching us on YouTube, we now have a YouTube channel for Fandom Podcast Network. Just search Fandom Podcast Network, and of course, Culture Clash is there. And we're going to also release our audio versions of our shows, as well as some exclusive content in shows, and throw up some of our regular shows as well. So, but of course, you can listen to all of our wonderful shows under the Fandom Podcast Network umbrella at fpnet.podbean.com. There's that Podbean app, as we always say. The Fandom Podcast Network is also on Apple Podcast, iTunes, Stitcher, Google Play, Spotify, iHeartRadio, and what else, Kyle?
We are on a Tuned In, which is, of course, Amazon's podcasting hub, which I guess ties in with Alexa. I haven't really tried this yet because I haven't downloaded the app yet, but we are on there.
So you can ask Alexa to find Fandom Podcast Network, basically.
If you have the Tuned In app, yes.
Okay, cool. All right. Well, as you guys should probably know, if you haven't found out already, we have a cool Facebook page. Please head on over to Fandom Podcast Network. Give us a like. And also, that's where we release a lot of fun information, a lot of stuff, too, that we expand upon on this show as well, Culture Clash. You can also email us at fandompodcastnetwork@gmail.com. We are also on Instagram and Twitter under Fandom Podcast Network. My name is Kevin. I am on Twitter and Instagram at Spartan_Phoenix. Kyle, where can we find you?
As Kevin just said, I am Kyle. You can find me on Twitter at AKyleW or on Instagram at AKyleFandom.
There is a few ways you can help us. First of all, Subscribe to us on YouTube. We need more subscribers. That would be great. Then you guys can get that little bell notification when we go live or when a new episode comes up. So make sure you check that out. Also, please support us with Apple Podcast and iTunes reviews. Please leave us a review on Apple Podcast. Search for Fandom Podcast Network. Give us some love there. If you like what you're watching or listening to here on Culture Class, give us a shout out there. Prefer 5 stars, of course, but we'll take any rated review. We love reviews, so please help us out with that. Also, we got a TeePublic store. Head on over to TeePublic. We got some great logos of all of our shows on the Fandom Podcast Network, and that would greatly help us out. So make sure you do that. And of course, hey, did I mention YouTube? So
Yeah,
Kyle,
yes.
Kyle,
Mm-hmm.
I want to give a little shout out.
Okay.
I want to give a shout out to, first of all, our fellow YouTubers, but also to our buddy Murph over at Raider Fans Radio. He's been doing the YouTube thing for a while, and he helped us out, give us some advice and such. And I know there's many others that are doing a YouTube as well, Skywalking Through Neverland. And is there a few more you'd like to shout out as well, Kyle?
YouTube. Let's see here. I think there's a lot. I'm not watching a lot of stuff on YouTube these days. I've been busy getting us set up on YouTube.
Yes. Well, I just want to say thank you guys for doing what you're doing. And of course, a lot of people like to get their media through YouTube, whether they're just listening or they want to see us live and do this. So definitely. So before we go to the Let's News, I want to ask you a question, Kyle.
Okay, I think that should be okay. I'm just about back to normal after getting all this set up.
Okay. Do you know what Felix Felicis is?
Does not ring a bell.
All the Harry Potter nerds are going, what, Kyle? What? Okay.
I was kind of figuring that was the next Raider starting quarterback, but
nice. Let's not go there yet. So, Felix Felicis was mentioned in Harry Potter and the Half-Blood Prince. Does that ring any bells now?
Probably. It's been a while since I've watched the Harry Potter stuff. So,
well, they had a new professor, not a dark, a professor of the Defense Against the Dark Arts, but Professor Slughorn put this little contest out to his potion students. And of course, Harry Potter found the book that belonged to the Half-Blood Prince with all these great notes in it.
Mm-hmm.
And so he won, and he got this little bottle of Felix Felicis, which is called Liquid Luck.
Yep.
Remember it? Remember
okay,
it?
yeah. Now I'm ringing all kinds of bells.
And it was and he drank the Liquid Luck, and he was able to do all these things and finally get that memory that he needed from Slughorn to work with Dumbledore and find more information about Lord Voldemort. So I felt like yesterday, Kyle, I had a little bit of Felix Felicis.
Could this be anything about a certain find you might have had at a Target store?
Not just that, but yesterday was a good day because I thought it was going to be kind of on my day off. I had to go get my car looked at because there was something wrong with my tire, and something started happening after my last service thing, So I went to the car place, said, look, I have this problem with the tire. Can you fix it? They said, sure. Are you going to be waiting? I said, sure. Less than an hour later, they were done. They said, we apologize. There was a broken valve. No charge. There you go. I said, awesome. That'll give me time. I'm going to go to Target. I went to Target because of 2 reasons. Obviously, I wanted to try to find a certain toy, but also I hadn't gotten my notification yet to see if my new glasses and prescription sunglasses would be in. So I decided, you know what? I'm going to go in there anyway. I'm going to ask. And I asked, and they said, you know what? We just got a shipment notification in. They went back. They found my glasses. So not only do I have really cool new glasses, but check it out. Prescription sunglasses, baby. Yeah. How do I look?
Patrick Mahomes is watching you.
Shh. Don't you check about that. Okay. And then I went to the toy section. And Kyle, what have we been chasing for the last couple of months now, or waiting for?
Well, I don't know about you, but I've been looking for Transformers. You did say something about some exclusive Care Bears, I must say.
I did not. You are making stuff up right now. All right. We're gonna say hi to the people in the chat in just a moment, but I just want to mention I was looking for GI Joes because it is taking forever for them to get to Target and Walmart's over here in the West Coast. And all they had was this beautiful roadblock, but I picked it up and I got it. So there you go.
This beautiful beachhead I have.
Yeah, there was a peg for that, but it wasn't there. It was just the Cobra Island stuff, though. It wasn't anything else because those are the exclusive GI Joe stuff. Yeah, there you go.
Is Cobra Island. So
yeah. So anyway, I felt like I had a little bit of Felix Felicis, a little bit of liquid luck yesterday. So there you go.
Okay, Kevin, I have to make a point here. Apparently, Jennifer Walk has us on a 70-inch TV, and yes, it is so very wrong.
So what you're saying is, Jennifer, is that you can see this up close? Okay.
I'm so sorry. I try to work with professionals. I really do.
Shout out to Jennifer Walk. Been a guest a few times. I'm going to be a guest again on some future episodes here on the Fandom Podcast Network. And again, shout out to Adam and Lurker ERS. Thanks for watching and listening. So yeah.
Okay, so now that we've gone past your groovy day, your luck-filled day,
liquid luck, baby.
I can't imagine the hangover you had this morning. He has a drinking problem. He took a drink right in the middle of a live podcast.
It's just water. Now, you don't want me on one of those squeeze bottles on live television, right?
Now, wait, Kevin. It's a Raider flask. You're not allowed to have water in that. I think it's another clear liquid, but before you get too far gone, are you feeling it?
I'm feeling it. All right, here we go, everybody. Let's news.
Okay, so we're going to start off with another story, but Kevin had a point. Let's get this out of the way, not because of disrespect, but because we want to actually honor him. He should be going first. Wilford Brimley passed away at the beginning of the week, Kevin. Actually, I think it was Sunday.
Yeah, Wilford Brimley. Yep. He's been dealing with diabetes, but what was the cause? Did they say?
I did not catch the cause of that, but I think he was up there.
Yeah, I mean, Wilford Brimley is one of those legendary actors. Of course, he did several commercials and everything. But what would you say he is most known for in your fandom, if any, Kyle?
Truthfully, outside of like the commercials and stuff, I always come to him in Cocoon.
Cocoon, yeah, that's good.
Also The Thing.
I forgot he was in that. Yeah.
And I will not ever forget him with that accent in Hard Target.
Come on, Wilford Brimley was awesome. Okay, maybe not the accent, but I loved him in Hard Target with Jean-Claude Van Damme. Man, he knew how to use a bow, dude.
Do you realize when Wilford Brimley did Cocoon when he was 50?
I know. 50. I'm almost 50, dude. That's how scary this is.
Well,
okay, so
think about it.
Hold on. We also have to mention his wonderful part in the Ewok movie.
Okay, you mentioned his wonderful part in the Ewok movie.
Come on. But he's legendary, man. It's and that mustache, dude. He knew. There's certain guys know how to rock a mustache, and he did.
He also did a TV show that I can't think of the name of that he was on. He played the grandfather of the kids, and he was on it for several seasons. It was after Cocoon, and I think it was like late 80s, early 90s. There's somebody out there in the listening land knows what I'm thinking of.
Yeah. It's sad. It's sad when you start to see these legends go, but I know that I think he was battling some illness or something.
Oh, I mean, like I said,
he also had diabetes and stuff like that. So, but I mean, he had a good life, man.
What's amazing when you talk about Wilford Brimley, though, is the fact that those diabetes commercials introduced him to a whole new generation because of memes and other things from those ads. And I mean, even I know there was a segment with him. He actually came on in Family Guy and played the joke on it with Family Guy. So,
to me, he's the dude in Hard Target.
Like I said, it's always Cocoon always comes to mind first, but I've always been partial to Cocoon. Cocoon kind of holds a soft spot. So.
Yeah.
But let's get to the major breaking news that happened probably about half an hour, maybe 45 minutes before
buddy.
Went live.
This is getting interesting it just got interesting.
Well, it got interesting for a couple of reasons. So the big news is that the live action Mulan is now going to come to Disney Plus. Apparently it is still going to have something of a limited theater release depending on the COVID situation per theaters. But here's the thing. It's coming to Disney Plus, but at an additional price, is going to be a $30 rental on Disney Plus. And I have been following the social media about this, and I gotta tell you, Kevin, it might be about 60-40 of people who are saying, no thanks, I'll just wait till it's actually on regular Disney Plus. I'm not paying the $30 for it.
You're going to get a lot of people ponying up this money, especially if it's a family with some kids and they want to, I assume you get to keep it rental for a few nights, or is it
I think
20,
it's 24 hours.
24 hours. So you got to kind of plan this ahead. And I think this is something that is going to be a huge experiment with a big movie like this for a $30 price point, because we had, what was it? The Hedgehog movie and was it Blood?
No, it was Trolls.
Trolls.
Bloodshot with Vin Diesel.
Yes. Yeah. So there you go. Those are $20 a pop, and now you got these going to 30. I think people are going to pay for it, dude.
It's going to be interesting to see. But here, the new Disney CEO Bob Chapek says Mulan's big move isn't reflective of a new business model for the company, even though it kind of is. We're looking at Mulan as a one-off, opposed to saying there's some new business windowing model that we're looking at, Chapek said Tuesday on the company's earnings call. Disney may be signaling that it's not turning its back on cinemas and that it will respect their ability to have exclusive access to their content. But Chapek wouldn't be so interested in testing the waters if the possibility didn't exist. The studio would dive back into streaming with some sort of off-delayed theatrical release. So here's the thing, Kevin. There was a big Disney conference call. It was a shareholder conference.
Right.
Disney's lost $3.5 billion this year.
Yeah.
Because of closures of the parks, the movies not coming out. That's a big chunk of change, even for Disney.
It is. I mean, for a company like Disney, a lot of people think that that's probably just a dent, but it's a lot of money. On the chat here, Jennifer says she'll pay for it. Yeah, so it'll be interesting. By the way, I want to say hi to Nathaniel. Of course, Adam's still there. I could see myself doing it. I really could, actually.
Yeah, for me, I mean, I'm interested in the Mulan movie. If this was Black Widow, I'd be all over it.
Yes. Yeah, I guess it just depends on your interest, but Mulan was one of those Disney live action that I was really excited about. The trailer sold me. It looks gorgeous. This is something I would not mind seeing home on the big screen. Or maybe I'll just go over to Jennifer's and go to the 70-inch. What do you think?
There you go. Yeah.
Let's go to Reno.
Yeah, exactly. So my question though is this: this is the big one. We've been waiting for one. We thought it was Bill and Ted, and I think more people are going to. I actually think more people are going to video on demand Bill and Ted than they will this Mulan.
We have a price point on Bill and Ted. Have they said yet?
It looks to be 20.
20. Okay.
Because I know, and I think it's coming to iTunes and Amazon and video on demand.
I'll do that.
You've got. Yeah, I think a lot of people will do that for Bill and Ted. I think 30s. I think $24.99 is the break point. I'm going to be very curious to see how this goes.
It's like when those Disney VHS cassettes came out in the big kind of puffy containers.
Yeah.
Disney stuff is always just a little bit more expensive, even on the when you go to, if there's still movies left, but if you go to like Target, Walmart, and you see the Disney films, they're always just a little bit more. That's what they're pushing the envelope on. So yeah.
See, and I think this is, Mulan is kind of one of those movies because the Disney live action films have been up and down in the box office. None of them have done poorly, but they have, outside of really Cinderella, none of them have brought in like these huge box office bank like they thought they were going to.
This is true.
Beauty and the Beast did bring in pretty good money too. So
yeah. So this actually excites me because I just want to see like what happens. I'll be there with, even if I don't order right away, I'll be there with popcorn watching social media.
I think where a lot of people are kind of upset, from what I've gathered on social media, from what I've looked at, it's not so much paying the $30 for it. It's $30 in addition to what they already pay monthly for Disney Plus.
Yes. Yeah.
And that's the sticking point. And I think that's an interesting thing when you have something like this. I think you have to take that into account. I signed up for the 3-year subscription to Disney Plus when it was offered through the D23.
I did that too. Yeah.
So it was like $4.99. I think it was $150 some odd when you add in tax and everything for the 3 years. But for the people who are month to month, that's $6.99 on top, another $30 on top of it, especially right now when people are a little tight. Now, the counter argument is, hey, I was going to take my kids to go see this. How much would I would have dropped $100 at the movie theater?
Yeah.
By buying popcorn and snacks. So it's going to be an interesting dichotomy to see how this plays out.
I also saw on one, we're obviously, when this kind of hit the news, we're kind of looking to see if it's true or not. But when Variety drops it, you're like, okay, this is true. But I saw on one of them that Disney Plus has over 65 million subscribers.
Disney Plus in 8 months has hit what they planned for 5 years.
Yeah.
I mean, I think COVID.
Thank you, COVID, right?
Yeah. I was going to say COVID is a huge part of that. There is no doubt about that. I mean, I think
I want to mention one comment that Nathaniel said here, and this is something that we've talked about, is missing the theater experience. And I think Nathaniel's like me and like you, Kyle, and several of us that just love the cinematic experience. So I'm hoping that, I mean, I'll tell you right now, if I do pay for this Mulan and watch it at home, and if it does drop in the theater, I would love to go see it in a theater, even though I've already seen it at home. But seeing it for the first time in a theater, I am going to miss that. But we're kind of in new times now, so we'll see.
Yeah, it's going to be it's questionable. I mean, and when are people going to be comfortable going back to the theater?
Exactly.
That's another big thing here. And when are theaters going to kind of open up? Because there's no way that theaters open to let me ask you this, Kevin, when theaters open, what do you think their capacity will be? What do you think in your mind are you expecting?
It's tough to say, but I know there's probably going to be some social distancing rules, and maybe every other row. It's weird. If you buy your tickets ahead of time, only certain tickets are going to be available. People are cooped up. I think there's depending on the film, like if Tenet were to do it, or whether it was Mulan, I think we would get a pretty big amount of people going out just to get out, because a lot of these pop-up drive-ins are becoming very popular. People want to get out of the house.
Yeah, but again, there's a difference between the pop-up drive-in where you're in your car, you're not sitting next to somebody else.
True. Yeah.
And so I'm thinking at best theaters are 30% capacity per theater.
Possibly. It depends on it. On your average weekly thing, you don't get a full capacity anyway. It's about those opening weekends. Those are the most popular and the most profitable for movies. So yeah,
it's going to be interesting to see how it plays out. But speaking of Disney Plus too, there's some interesting Mandalorian news out there, Kevin.
Yes, I know. Interesting.
There was an interview with the Moff Gideon himself, Giancarlo Esposito, and he had a couple interesting things to say. In this article, when he spoke with Deadline for this, you'll see more of the Darksaber. You'll get the explanation of this ancient weapon to the modern world, a collapsed world. Where did this saber come from, and how was it revived? It's a key in our second season, which will be back sooner than later. The saber is a key to Moff Gideon's past, which possibly has a lot to do with where he comes from and his desire to build a planet and bring it back together. I'm excited.
I am. It's really weird though, because there's so many rumors about season 2 that haven't been necessarily confirmed. Like, has it been confirmed we're getting Ahsoka? Has it been confirmed we're actually getting a Boba Fett, or is he mentioned? I mean, there's all this stuff. So it's nice that we get something like this to kind of tease on. But whatever it is, I'm going to be right there. I'm going to be changing my sleeping patterns for that show.
Oh yeah, well, without a doubt. What I'm curious about, Kevin, is will this change any of the established history we already have for the Darksaber?
I hope they don't, because you got Dave Filoni there knowing basically the lore and everything that happens. If there's, there might be maybe a slight change just to better fit maybe a story that they think that would be good. But I think too, you have to also look at the expectations of the production of this show, because not only did they revolutionize the production, but they just got recognized for it big time. So This is going to be interesting.
I have another question for you, Kevin, and we haven't addressed this yet. Considering all the elements of Clone Wars that could possibly be in this season 2 of The Mandalorian, How many episodes of this do you think Dave Filoni is directing?
Of the second season?
Of the second season.
I'm guessing maybe 1, 2 at the most, because they've already announced the directors, but they didn't say how many they were going to direct.
Right. I think Dave's at least doing 2 this year, because I don't see anybody but Dave doing, if Ahsoka premieres live, nobody but Dave is doing that. I'm sorry.
This is true. You know, Dave's on that. Yeah. But I want him to do more live action directing, because we know what we want from Dave Filoni, right?
Yeah. Well, I mean, he's getting a masterclass from Jon Favreau in it.
Yes,
so.
he is. He needs to do, we want him to be behind the camera on a live action feature length Star Wars film. So that would be cool.
I think that's coming, but I think he's third in line, Kevin. Because I think, I think Taika,
okay. So if he's third in line, I kind of get an idea who's first, but who's second?
I think Deborah Chow is.
Deborah Chow behind Taika.
Yeah, I think.
Yeah.
I think by the time Deborah's done with Kenobi, Taika will be pretty much getting close to done with the next Star, and I think Deborah will be handed the keys.
That would be awesome. I totally support that.
I think that's what they've been developing too. Now, Kevin, I got to hit you with some depressing news, but I think we knew this was coming. The Henry Golding Snake Eyes G.I. Joe spinoff film has been delayed. It was originally scheduled for October 23rd, 2020 release. They are now working out specifics with Paramount of when it will be released, but will definitely be in 2021.
I have the feeling most of the principal photography was probably done on this. It was probably special effects and post-production that needed work on this. And then, of course, they want to try to get some revenue from this in the theater. So they're going to just get rid of 2020 and shoot it for 2021 and maybe really work on the promotion of this. Because I got to tell you, I'm going to bring this up again, guys. There's another reason why I love the fact that it's difficult to find G.I. Joes in the stores, Kyle, is that it's creating a demand for a lot of us people that love G.I. Joe back in the 80s. And it's also bringing new people into the world. But it seems like to me that this is already a success for Hasbro. The demand for it is there. People want it. They're hungry for it. If Hasbro sees this, then not only are we getting a Snake Eyes movie, maybe we're getting some other G.I. Joe stuff. More G.I. Joe is good in my world. What do you think?
Okay, we're going to talk. I'm going to hold off on that because we're going to talk about Hasbro here with another one of their properties shortly. So I'll
okay.
address it all then.
Make sure you address the G.I. Joe thing.
No, I'll address it all then because I have thoughts too. But let's real quick. This Snake Eyes. You have Henry Golding is playing Snake Eyes.
Yes.
Which I'm still not 100% certain about, just because we know the comic history, Kevin.
Yes. We know the comic history.
I do like Henry Golding. I think
Henry Golding's great. Yeah.
Andre Koji is playing Storm Shadow. Iko Oasis, and I know I'm pronouncing that wrong, so you don't even have to tell me, but all I'm saying is Snake Eyes is going to be rated because he's playing the Hard Master.
Yes.
Samara Weaving is Scarlet. I'm curious about that. I know she's up and coming. She's Hugo Weaving's niece.
Yeah, I just watched Samara Weaving in Guns Akimbo, and she was really... let's put it this way. She knows how to shoot guns and kick butt, so she's halfway there.
And Ursula Cabrero as the Baroness.
Not familiar with her work. So yeah.
And Robert Schwentke, who directed Red, is directing this film. So a good director there. So it's going to be interesting to see how this plays out, but I'm looking forward to it. But you know what, Kevin? I saw a bunch of things this weekend.
You know, you've been kind of lacking lately on seeing stuff because you've been busy and work's been tough, and you've kind of had your
7 months of tax season, ladies and gentlemen.
Yeah.
7 months.
But you finally sat down and streamed a bunch of stuff, so this will be interesting.
Yeah. So without further ado, it's time to buy it, stream it, or unsee it. So I dove deep into the streaming realm this weekend, Kevin, and it started with power throughing in one day, season 2 of The Umbrella Academy.
8 episodes or 10?
I think it was 10. It might even have been 11. I kind of lost track because the day just kind of ran together.
Amazon or Netflix?
Netflix.
Okay.
I have been a big fan of this show. I absolutely love season 1. You've got Ellen Page in this show. They do a pretty good job of interpreting the Dark Horse comic of the same name. This second season was just fun, and I don't want to go dive too deep because there's a lot of people who haven't watched yet, so I'm trying to avoid some spoilers. I know you started season 1 and then you got sidetracked, so I know you still have to revisit.
Yeah, but I'm interested in trying this, especially on your recommendation. My friend John here in Santa Barbara also recommended it, and he brought something up that I was really curious about. Was he said that this second season has a great soundtrack.
Oh, the soundtrack for the second season is phenomenal. It has music from the 60s up to current modern day, and it's phenomenally done. This isn't massive spoilers, but one of the fun things about the season is the team that is the Umbrella Academy all gets dumped in Dallas in the early 60s.
Wait a minute. Something happens in Dallas in the early 60s.
Oh, and trust me, that particular event is a big plot point of season 2, as it was in part of season 1 as well. So,
yeah, a little Harvey Oswald changed some history there.
Oh, well, a lot of history might be changing after this season. But the great thing about the season is you can really feel the actors have even got more into their characters and feel more at home at them. I really like Ellen Page in this second season. She feels a lot more comfortable in her character. But I mean, across the board, it's so well acted. It's fun. It's quirky, and the quirkiness works because it's off the wall, but it's not that it's so insanely off the wall, and they have explanations for it. So
you highly recommend it.
Yeah. If you couldn't stream it, I would be buy it, and buy it. So we were talking Hasbro, not that just a few minutes ago, Kevin.
Yes.
I also watched which premiered on Thursday. It's 6 episodes only, but it's a CGI show, so there's a lot.
Well, I can't see your face. You got the shadow going on with the mic.
I'm trying to be the mystery man here. But Transformers War for Cybertron Season 1 Siege came out. Now, Hasbro has, for a little bit longer than G.I. Joe, been reintroducing Transformers out into the world. Right. But their big thing right now has been this War for Cybertron series that they're doing, which the toy figures for the last several years have been phenomenal.
Is this kind of a prequel to what we normally know with the Transformers coming to Earth?
Yeah, this is a little bit of a prequel. I think they're going to change slightly the story of the Transformers coming to Earth, but I think it's going to work in how they're doing it. This deals with a lot of what happened a lot of what was going on Cybertron before they left for Earth.
Right.
And it's an intriguing story, especially if you're a fan of Transformers and a fan of the history of Transformers and wanting to see that expanded upon. If you've been reading the comics that have been coming out by IDW, they've done a very good job with that. The animation quality is actually very good in this. It's very well done CGI. You see, I
was gonna ask you how that was. Yeah.
You see a lot of familiar faces: Megatron, Ironhide, Jetfire, Optimus Prime, Bumblebee, Soundwave, Shockwave, Ultra Magnus. There's some new characters as well that maybe you're not quite as familiar with in this. Here's my one knock, and I think it's more because I grew up with the classic Transformers cartoon. You are so conditioned for Peter Cullen to be Optimus Prime.
Yeah, but he's not Optimus Prime.
He's not Optimus Prime. Neither is Frank Welker as Megatron. Even Soundwave most of them are different voice actors from the original series. For the most part, I can get past that. Even the guy who does Optimus Prime, he doesn't do a bad job. It's just Peter Cullen is so iconic.
Understood. Yep.
What can be a little frustrating for people who were coming into this thinking they're just getting old school Transformers is you have to remember where you're doing it in history. This is not the super confident leader Optimus Prime yet. This is still a very new to leadership, naive Optimus Prime. He just has gotten the matrix of leadership, things like that. So there's some very interesting things.
How's the music going?
Just a lot of like synthesizer style music. Not really. If you're thinking like Transformers 1986 film, you're not going to get that kind of music.
Gotcha.
But
okay.
I think it does justice to the toy line. Obviously, it's focused. You can tell it's a Hasbro show, so they're focusing on toy sales as well in this, even though they really don't need to, because Transformers are like G.I. Joe. They're selling off the shelf.
Okay, so you were going to talk about G.I. Joe and toys a little bit, right?
So what I wanted to hit on this is I think if The GI Joe toys seem to be very hot right now. People are all over them. So I think Hasbro is paying attention. I think they might have some plans for a GI Joe series in this kind of same manner at some point.
I hope so. I prefer live action, but I'll take another animated one.
Well, considering how phenomenal the last GI Joe animated thing we saw was.
Yeah.
Which, if you haven't had, was that Resolute?
Yeah, I think it was Resolute. Yeah.
We kind of had an anime style on it, aired on the Cartoon Network. Yeah. You can find it on DVD and streaming. I think Tubi has it on streaming. Check it out. It's really
Tubi's
good.
I think's got all the Joe stuff. Yeah. Well, I know you've been kind of looking for the toys as well, but I want to mention just really quickly on G.I. Joe, our friend Aaron Head Moss does the G.I. Joe Real American Headcast podcast, where he talks about the original Marvel series of the G.I. Joe and an episode of the cartoon. And I'm going to be guesting on his podcast, and we're going to be talking about, remember Shakedown, Kyle?
Oh, one of my favorite issues of the comic. Great one-on-one plane battle.
Yes, G.I. Joe, the Rattler against Ace and his Sky Striker. So yeah, looking forward to that. So
let me ask you, Kevin, would you consider that run of G.I. Joe from, I'm going to say, about 18 to 50, like, and then the Marvel run, the premiere issues of the Marvel run?
I would go back as early as 11 with the whole Rio Lindu and the death of Quinn and all that kind of stuff. But definitely that issue 21 through the 40s was just fantastic. G.I. Joe.
I'd even go a few before 21, because there was the issue where you had Quinn's funeral.
Yeah.
That's when Roadblock and Duke were introduced in the comic at the end of the issue.
And but because of all the new characters that you get in that run of 21 through, close to 50, it's just fantastic. Yeah, great writing.
So, but there was one more thing I watched, Kevin, and I've actually been waiting for this for a while.
I just watched it before we started.
Muppets Now on Disney Plus. And Kevin, this is the Muppets that have been missing for a good while. This was so much fun. It had that Muppet craziness to it. It was quirky. And it had that bit of off the wall that the Muppets should have. It felt like kind of watching a modern version of the Muppet Show in some ways.
Yes, it looks like we're going to get about 6 episodes. And this one's kind of funny because the Muppets are trying to get ready for streaming, and you got Scooter running around. But it has one of my favorite Muppets in it, with a great little scene with Miss Piggy, and that's Uncle Deadly. You had Linda Cardellini, you had Taye Diggs, and RuPaul as guests. It was really cool.
Yeah, no, it was a lot of fun. I love how they portrayed Kermit. I like they got Walter involved too.
Yes, it was good to have Walter from the movie. With Jason Segel.
Yeah,
right. Did he direct it or just write it?
I think he starred, and I think he helped write it. If I'm not mistaken.
he's a great character. So yeah, I thoroughly enjoyed it, and I'm looking forward to the next one. I guess they're releasing them weekly, I assume.
Yeah, it's a weekly show. I'm looking forward to it. And are you going to take photobombing lessons from Kermit, Kevin?
Was it Kermit or was it someone else?
No, it was Kermit who did all the photobombing.
That was a lot of fun. That was funny. It felt like Muppets. It really did.
And we learned you never photobomb Miss Piggy.
Yes, you don't do that. Yeah,
that's not a good idea. So,
but it wasn't Kermit that photobombed Miss Piggy.
It was Walter who was doing it.
Yeah.
So I also have one thing I want to hit on the retro side, because I know we've been hitting a lot of old stuff.
This is kind of a sub segment of Buy It. See it.
You like that? I'm sorry. I am so sorry, everybody.
This is a sub segment of Buy It, Stream It, or Unsee It.
Kevin, why do I have a
Did I just make you cry?
I don't. You made me hurt. You made me hungry for a steak and cheese footlong. That's what I'm gonna say. No, I did a revisit. The Peacock app came out a couple weeks ago. Kevin and I talked about one of their brand new shows, Brave New World, on a previous episode of Culture Clash. I decided to dive into the rabbit hole of some old things, and I came across Seaquest. Now, I remember Seaquest when it first came out. I was kind of hyped for this.
And I'm sorry, what is Seaquest about again?
It's about Roy Scheider coming back to the waters where he belongs.
And what does he ride in?
He rides in this really big underwater spaceship.
It's a submarine.
I was not going to give him that, folks. Sorry, it just wasn't going to happen.
Work for it.
Exactly.
Seaquest.
Rocky S. O'Bannon, who wrote Farscape, was one of the writers on this show.
Oh, I did not know that. Yeah, Seaquest. I was watching that first season, man.
Yeah. Lasted 3 seasons, and it took a major turn for the 3rd season. They basically completely revamped it, pushed it in the future, because it starts, I believe, in the year 20 now, literally this year.
2020?
I think it's 2020 but what happens at the end of season 2, and I haven't gone this far yet, but in the end of season 2, they had a storyline where Seaquest disappeared and was gone for 10 years. And all of a sudden came back, and none of the crew remembered anything over that 10 years.
It's Seaquest 2032.
Yeah, 2032.
Yeah.
But the big change was Roy Schneider had stepped away from the show, and they had brought in a new captain, and it was 80s B-movie icon Michael Ironside.
Michael Ironside, yeah, so good.
But I did go back and I watched the 2-hour premiere, and then I watched the first 2 episodes after the premiere. This is interesting to see how this kind of holds up, because the acting is actually fairly good. Roy Schneider is good in this.
I liked Peter DeLuise in that as Dagwood.
Yeah, but he wasn't in that show until the 2nd season.
Was it 2nd season? Okay,
it might have been later in the first, but
What about Ted Raimi?
Ted Raimi was in every episode.
Okay.
There was 3 cast members in every episode. It was Ted Raimi, the late Jonathan Brandis, and Don Franklin, who played like the kind of the number 1
Commander Jonathan Ford. Yeah.
Yeah. So this was interesting. It's interesting too, because a lot of these actors really didn't go on to do much after this, at least like name type stuff.
Yeah. Yeah.
And obviously we know the tragedy of Jonathan Brandis, unfortunately.
Yeah. Yeah. Took his own life, if I remember correctly, right?
Yes. But you actually, not only was Peter DeLuise in this, his brother Michael was also in this.
That's right. Yep.
So, and of course, but we all know the true star of the show was Darwin the Dolphin.
Darwin the Dolphin.
And we're going to get to him in a little bit. Interesting casting too. I believe she was in the first season only, Stephanie Beacham. And Kevin, I know where you probably like, when you see her, you kind of like, I know her. Where do I know her from? And I know where I'm going to get you from this, Kevin. She played Dylan's mother, Iris McKay, on 90210.
I forgot about that. Yeah. Yeah. Oh, she was Sister Kate too.
Yes.
And of course, one of the Colbys in Dynasty. So yeah.
One of the people though that I'm surprised did not go on to have a bigger career after this show was Stacey Hyduck, who played the lieutenant commander.
Oh, she was a cutie, if I remember correctly.
She did some episodes of True Blood. She did a lot of she was actually on the show Prison Break for several episodes. She's done a lot of daytime television since then. So
she did some voice work on Star Wars The Old Republic Onslaught. So there you go.
She was, Kevin, here you go. She was on Kindred the Embrace.
Oh, that's right. Gosh, I love that show. Kindred the Embrace. Yeah. What was it like going back to Seaquest, man? Or excuse me, as what did she say? Jennifer says a submersible. What do you say? Anyway, yeah. So it was basically
a deep submergence vehicle.
Yes, thank you. Deep submergence vehicle. What was it like? How were the sets like? I don't even remember.
It felt like watching like the early first season of DS9. It kind of had that kind of feel to it as far as how the stories were written, how the sets kind of came across. Obviously, it's a sub, so there's less sets, but it definitely has a little bit of a that Star Trek type feel for around that time frame. The effects are pretty questionable at times. I'm not gonna lie.
It feels like it might have been a Vancouver type TV series. Maybe.
Yeah, NBC put a lot of money in this. They really hyped this. I remember when it came out, it got a ton of hype, and they made a big deal about Roy Scheider being on this show.
Yeah. Gosh, memories.
Yeah, so it's a fun thing to revisit. I'll probably check out an episode here or there.
That's what I was going to ask, is if you're going to keep going after it. So yeah.
I think so, because I want to get to the episodes where the DeLuise brothers come in, and because it had such a drastic change in its 3rd season, I at least would like to kind of explore that a little. I'll probably skip some episodes here and there, but it's a fun thing to revisit because it's one of those things. I don't think I've watched it at all since it initially aired.
Gotcha.
So now, Kevin, you have something, and if I'm remembering correctly, don't you have something going on with our good friend over at Type 40, Dan Hadley, about this one?
Yeah. So Dan Hadley, of course, one of the members of the Fandom Podcast Network, the host for our Doctor Who podcast, Type 40, also has this Spacebook Facebook group, which is great. A lot of pop culture stuff that pops in there of movies and music. But what I love about the stuff that Dan posts, in addition to this, a lot of the pop culture film and movies that we shared, when I say we, I mean here in the States as well as in the UK, sometimes we'll pop something up that maybe didn't quite jump over to the pond and was quite as popular here in the States, but was definitely popular there in the UK. And he popped a picture up of this TV series called Dempsey and Makepeace. Have you heard of this series, Kyle?
This is the first I have ever heard of this. I got to be honest with you.
Okay, this surprises me, but maybe not. We had a PBS station here in California that showed obviously our, children's program like Mr. Rogers, Sesame Street, Electric Company, Masterpiece Theater.
Let me just remind you of where I was in the mid-80s.
Okay, sorry, Alaska boy. You didn't have a public PBS station?
We had PBS, but I mean, we didn't. Okay. They didn't have a lot of the.
How were you watching Doctor Who then? Because this is how we found out about Doctor Who.
Yeah, it was PBS was how I found out about Doctor Who. The PBS in Alaska did show.
Okay, because that's how my mom got into Doctor Who, and we were watching the Fourth Doctor there and stuff, and that's how I knew who Doctor Who was. But every now and then they would show some other TV series on PBS, and one of those series was Dempsey and Makepeace, which was a buddy cop TV series that took place in London. And it starred Michael Brandon and Glynis Barber. Dempsey, who is a tough New York cop, is sent to London undercover police unit teamed up with the sophisticated, sexy blonde Makepeace. They hunt down the top of London's underworld when they're not fighting. And the situation of Dempsey going over there is interesting because something happened with his partner that was corrupt, and his partner got killed. So his boss sent him over to England. And I just recently watched the premiere episode, the 2-parter, and it was so much fun going back into this. But the cool thing about this is while you're watching this, Kyle, the main actors, Michael Brandon, who plays Dempsey, and Glynis Barber, who plays Makepeace, they became a couple in real life, and they're still together.
Wow.
After all these years.
The fact that they become a couple doesn't surprise me. The fact that they're still together, that's a big surprise.
Yes. The other cool thing about this is that, okay, so you know how when the UK does shows, they're usually smaller seasons and they call them
like
series.
6, 10,
and you're not gonna get 7 seasons except maybe of course of Doctor Who. But this ran for 3 series, 30 total episodes. And I got myself a 9-disc set of Dempsey and Makepeace, and I bought this used off the interweb, so you can get it there. And it was fun to pop in that first episode. And Dan Hadley was a huge fan. And when I was watching this when I was a kid, this came out in 85 and 86. I didn't really appreciate the beauty of one Glynis Barber.
Now, on the other hand.
Oh my gosh, she is gorgeous. I'll tell you that right now. And Dan, my man, he will believe me. And also Grant Kempster, our fellow friend in the Highlander universe, runs a Highlander Heart. He's also a huge fan. And he also joked that every time he sees someone roll on the ground, he calls it a Dempsey, because Dempsey's one of those cops that like to roll around on the ground and then pick up his gun and shoot it. But it's shot in the UK, and it's great because I noticed some locations that I was familiar with. But the funny thing about it, it's got a moonlighting vibe, and you know what moonlighting is.
Yeah, absolutely.
And I looked to see what time Moonlighting came out. Moonlighting also came out in 1985. Where there's sexual tension between the 2 leads. We'll see what happens, because I don't remember the ending of the series. I remember watching a bunch of them and I enjoyed them, but they didn't show all of them in PBS. I highly recommend this series. I don't know. I didn't check to see if it was streaming anywhere, but you can definitely find it on DVD, and it's definitely, obviously, it's a buy it for me. I love this series, and it's great.
Yeah, the only thing I say about moonlighting is there's a whole other different kind of tension there that wasn't sexual, but we won't go into that. So with that, for the podcast listeners, we're going to take a quick break and let you know what else is going on around the network. And as far as you live people, just hang out if you need to. This is your few second break here. So 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. And we're back, and hopefully you're enjoying everything that we're doing here at the Fandom Podcast Network. Kevin, real quick, before we get into our next segment, there's something I meant to address with you that I have not addressed with you yet.
Okay. All right.
We've talked about it offline.
Okay.
G4 is coming back.
Yes, G4.
I don't know how it's coming back yet. That hasn't been revealed, but it is coming back in some fashion, whether it's on a channel or I think it's probably going to end up being something at the internet, maybe their own site where
right.
X-Play's coming back, Attack of the Show.
And why did we like G4?
I don't know. It could have something to do with Olivia Munn, Candace Bailey, Sarah Underwood,
Jessica Chobot.
Yeah, Jessica Chobot.
And Chris Gore. Chris Gore was awesome.
And
Kevin Pereira, the host of
Attack of the Show.
That show was great. Was there any other shows on G4?
X-Play. You had X-Play with Adam Sussler and Morgan Webb, which did video game movies. I gotta tell you right now, Kevin Pereira is one of the reasons to kind of make me go out and get into podcasting and do something like this.
Yeah.
So
yeah. I'm excited. I hope it comes back. I hope Attack of the Show comes back. And Chris Gore, by the way, is doing a documentary on Attack of the Show. So I'm really excited about that.
I'm hoping. I know Blair Herter, who was a regular on Attack of the Show and also is married to Jessica Chobot.
Yes, yeah. But I want to shout out the chat just real quick. We got Nathaniel there. Nathaniel's funny because he and I are big Stargate fans, and he says, what did he say? He says, every time Kevin keeps saying Makepeace, makes me think of talking about Colonel Makepeace from SG-1. Laugh out loud.
There we go. But yeah, no, I'm really hoping, like I said, he's involved in this, so it's going to definitely have some of those. I think Kevin Pereira is involved in this in some way. I don't know that 100% for certain. It's funny though, because if you look on social media, there's several people who are already campaigning to be hosts on the new G4. One of those is a professional wrestler, Xavier Woods, who is a huge just fandom guy. He's great. I've actually met. He comes to Dragon Con every year.
Does he got the personality for something like this?
And then some.
Okay,
the guy
is good.
Let me put it this way. He has his own custom video arcade he's built down in the basement of his house.
Right. Well, I had a friend of mine that worked on the behind the scenes, I think helped producing Mr. Twilliger on the Attack of the Show. And it was one of his most fun things he's ever done. It was such a great show.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. So hopefully we'll get it back.
Yeah, hope so. But Kevin, without further ado, it's time to open up the pet door.
The pet door, yes, there you go. I see what you did.
See, I can get away with that. You, not so much.
Come on, subcategory. That was funny.
So we put this out a few days ago. Kevin and I kind of came up with this thanks to one of your coworkers, I believe. You said,
yeah, one of my coworkers, Dexter. I tell him about the podcast and stuff that we do. He's like,
time out. Dexter?
Yes,
you work
Dexter.
with a homicidal murderer?
Oh, this guy's far beyond that. He's such a sweet guy. Good family man, Dexter. But I told him about the stuff we've been talking about with the podcast. He's like, you know what, you should, because and he was the one that recommended one of the nominees here. And after I watched that movie, he says, you guys should do a podcast on live action animals, our favorites, and I'm like, done. I talked to you about it, and here we are.
Yep. So we went through, we got a lot of input, which we're going to get to in a little bit, but Kevin, you snuck something in and again on the show on me.
Yes. And I thought of Jennifer about this, our good friend Jennifer. Hi, Jennifer. There's certain triggers that we have, Kyle, and there's certain things that we learned in pop culture when it comes to movies with animals. And it's it was something that was a little more common, just because I don't know if it was a thing or a trend or just a way to really grab at your heartstrings and punch you in the gut at the same time, is when the star or one of the co-stars of the film, if it's an animal, ends up dying at the end. And I like to say this: don't kill the dog. Let's not do this. And we learned, of course, from the 1957 classic Old Yeller. Kyle, I have not seen this movie, and I refuse to watch this movie for this reason. Have you seen Old Yeller?
Oh yes, I've seen Old Yeller.
Okay. Of course, and we learned on that classic episode of Friends that Phoebe loves that movie because she never got to see the end of it. And then they tried to do something similar with Tom Hanks and Turner and Hooch. And I'm sorry, but you just don't kill the dog. You don't do that. And there's a lot of us that are.
Zach Morris, timeout. No, Kevin. As of the mid 80s, it changed from "you don't kill the dog" to "you don't kill the horse."
Yeah. Which movie?
We're talking about Atraxis from The Never Ending Story.
How do you say the name?
Atraxis.
Yeah, the poor horse and never.
That is the most heart-wrenching pet death ever.
And it's not. It's just. It's weird too because it's like he just quits. You know.
Yeah, they're in this like swamp of sorrow. I think it was.
Yeah. Oh my God, that just is horrible. But
and
anyway.
Yeah.
There's certain triggers, and so there's certain reasons why we like certain movies and certain reasons why we don't. And it's for the same reason why if I find out that you're going to make a Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle television series, movie, or comic, and you're going to kill off one of the turtles, I'm not watching it because to me, all the turtles need to be alive.
Okay, well,
anyway, I just wanted to bring that up.
I want to sidebar here for a minute. You bring up turtles.
Yes.
I suggested a comic to you that was coming out. That's a future alternate story of the Turtles, which looks really, really good. And I think Eastman and Laird are both involved in it. The Last Ronin, and only one of the brothers is alive. Now I know you're feeling about reading things, but this looks like classic great turtle stuff here with the art style and everything.
Yeah, I said no, but we'll see. I just can't. After that whole Donatello experiment from an earlier comic series, I'm just like, no. Anyway,
well, you got to think of this as kind of like a what if story more than anything. This is an actual in canon.
I can get around that. Maybe we'll see. But yeah, okay. But so we got some nominations, Kyle. But we have some Facebook nominations of our. Okay, just to clarify, this is our Fandom Hall of Fame for our favorite live action TV and movies animals. And I had to clarify that.
Yeah. And we have, just so people understand, there's a reason we had to do this way, because if we would have included animated, they would have dominated.
Yes.
Animated also did not include.
And there's just so many.
Yeah. We did not include things that were pre-existing animals, but they were radical versions of them, like a King Kong or even the dinosaurs from Jurassic Park.
Yes. Yeah. There was just stuff we had to kind of, like we do with these Fandom Hall of Fames, we have to corral a certain amount and do it from there. But still, there's so much wonderful animals to choose from. But yeah, we wanted you to try and pick it, like if it was possible to have that pet as a friend nowadays in reality, not millions of years ago with the dinosaur or some weird thing that makes a ape 100 feet tall.
The other thing is, and we did take this into account, so there are times when you have an animal and there's scenes you need to shoot or whatever, or for whatever reason, but the funness of the show, you have to have an animatronic or a computer animated version of it. So we allow, there is some allowance for that in some of the cases here, but it can't be something that's constantly right. A real live animal had to be involved in some point in this.
Yes, exactly. So there was a lot to choose from, but of course we wanted to let our Facebook friends comment on that and give some of their suggestions of their favorites. So I got a list here. All right. I said we want your votes, honorable mentions. We're inducting the 7 best live action animals in movies and TV on this episode of Culture Clash of Real Animals. And so here we go. Now, Blair Hiscock said Milo from The Mask. I remember Milo.
Mm-hmm.
Loved Milo. Yeah, that was a good one. Eddie from Frasier, Nathaniel. That is a great vote there. I love Eddie. Was funny. He stole the show.
Oh yeah.
Yes. David Walsh, of course, said number 1 in Picard, and I said, yeah, we wanted more of the pity, didn't we? We didn't get enough. Of the
nowhere near enough number 1.
Yes, great choice. Derek Marsh said Jaws. My buddy Joseph Bigshauser said, come on, we all know it's Benji, and he's so cute. Yes. Joseph also said Old Yeller, and I said he's legendary. I just can't bring myself to watch it. And then Jennifer, we got your list here. This was a great list. She did mention live action CG, the T-Rex of Jurassic Park. She also said Bruce, who was Jaws, Toto of Wizard of Oz, Humpback Whales in Star Trek 4, Gracie and Alan. No, Gracie. Yeah. Who was the other one? Gracie. Oh gosh, I'm drawing a blank.
Real quick, Kevin, I just want to interject. If we would have included CGI animals, the T-Rex would have been a first ballot Hall of Famer.
This is very true. Yes. Let's see. Oh, Bruiser from Legally Blonde 1 and 2, the Chihuahua. He was cute, definitely. Jerry. Now this is where you make a good dog movie and you don't kill the dog, and that is Jerry Lee in K9.
Mm-hmm.
So I actually enjoyed that one. Boy in John Wick 2 and 3. I like that. Pitbull, right? If I remember correctly.
Mm-hmm.
She says, I think that covers it, although I know I'm thinking more after I hit enter. I assume your category disqualifies animated animals because I have a whole list of those. And then, Nathan Miracle said, Babe, that'll do. Pig, that'll do. I like that. Joseph said, would Rocket qualify? Kind of real, but kind of CG. Like, no.
You know what though? I'm gonna give him points for creativity of his nomination.
This is true, Joseph. And he's like, come on, man. Yeah, no, I do like that one. Todd Soper said, and I remember seeing this movie in the theater, The Bear Cub from The Bear. Remember The Bear?
Oh, yeah. Mm-hmm.
God, he was so cute. Definitely. I have a confession to make. There's a nomination here that I've never seen, but I assume it's on Disney Plus and I can watch it. And that is Carl Nordstrom's vote of one of his favorites, The Cat from Outer Space.
Oh, absolutely. I love. How have you never seen The Cat from Outer Space?
I just never have. I don't know. If it was on when I was a kid, I probably would have watched it.
That thing made the cycle on The Wonderful World of Disney at least 3 times a year.
So I guess I have to know these references then, because Lacey Adderhold said, Carl, good. Old Zunar-J-59 Dork 4-7. And then she said, and don't forget Lucy Bell.
Yep.
And Ryan Stamfley, and he had a great GIF, whatever.
GIF.
Clyde from Every Which Way But Loose. There you go. What else we got here? Oh, Bill Medea said the Black from the Black Stallion. Classic.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
I remember seeing that. I've never seen this. John Givitz, my buddy John, did this. I remember seeing YouTube videos of it and stuff, but I've never seen Lancelot Link Secret Chimp.
By the way, the Humpback Whales, Jennifer and Nathan.
George,
like George Burns.
Yes, George and Gracie. They were married in real life. Yeah. That's right. Yeah. Thank you. Did you ever see Lancelot Link, Kyle?
No, I never have.
I never did either. What else we got here? Oh, okay. And I had to make sure. And of course, I'm a recent person who finally saw this film, so I got it. Greg Kirkmeyer, one of my buddies here in Santa Barbara, said Kodo and Podo from Beastmaster.
Absolutely.
Ferrets, right?
Yeah. Kevin, I got it. I know you're gonna hit on real quick, but our Australian people have weird animals shows.
My buddy Stevie McLeod said Skippy the bush kangaroo, and I said I need reference. Who? Adam said you don't know Skippy.
No, but I do know Kangaroo Jack.
Yes, Kangaroo Jack. And I watched one of the intros for Skippy. It's basically pretty much like Flipper, but on land. You know, you have this really cute, I guess, kangaroo jumping around, and there's a young kid, and there's a a cool opening theme to it. But it's funny when you see Skippy up close, it's like a real kangaroo, but then you see someone put up like a fake kangaroo paw to like touch his face, like give him some expression. And then there was this whole thread about kangaroo meat. Thank you, Ryan Stanley. Yes. Back to Lacey, by the way. Lacey had a great selection here. She said DC in That Darn Cat, Mel in Return to Me, Flipper, Lassie, Benji, Air Bud, Rin Tin Tin, Babe, the Shaggy Dog, the Shaggy DA, the Ugly Dashin, and Milo and Otis. So many great ones. Great list. That's a good list.
Yeah, that's a good list.
Oh, she also said Sherrick, Kodo, Podo, and Rue from the Beastmaster. And she just named them all off. That's awesome.
Yeah.
My lovely fiance, Erin Gill. Of course, who do you think that she mentioned?
I'm going with the cat from Pet Sematary.
No, Toto from the Wizard of Oz.
Oh, I was already Cujo. Cujo was another option there too.
Yes. Yep. And speaking of Toto, we did visit Toto's grave because she's buried. Toto, he, I think it might have been a she. I can't remember, but Toto is memorialized in the same LA cemetery that Dorothy is as well, of course. And Stevie McLeod thought he could try to get underneath our rules here. He put Donkey from Shrek, and I said, nice try.
Yeah, no, well, when we get to the animated ones, we'll bring up Donkey again.
But yeah, Judy Garland and Toto are in the same cemetery, so you can visit them there. And of course, last but not least, and this is great, Mr. Ed, Brad McNaughton. Hello, Wilbur.
Well, Kevin, I think this time around, I really do think we should open up with our first ballot Hall of Famer.
Really? You don't want to save it?
No, because.
All right.
Well, the reason why is because I'm worried you're going to get stuck in a well, Kevin.
What? He's stuck in a well? Where?
Of course, if you don't get that joke, then you're much too young. And of course, we are talking about our first ballot Hall of Famer, who I think is the most obvious choice, Kevin. And
so hold on. Normally we say they walk right into the Hall of Fame. Trot? What do you say?
No. It's with this particular breed and everything, it's a strut into the Hall of Fame.
It's a strut into the Hall of Fame. Yes.
Lassie
struts right into the Hall of Fame. Lassie has to be the most famous animal of all time, would you say? Because of how many television shows, movies, I guess.
I think there's only one other animal that if you say that name, most people will know that. And
right.
It came up in honorable mentions. I'm just going to say it, and that's Toto.
Yes, yeah. So, I mean, Lassie is just so legendary and a beautiful dog as well, and got so much screen time, and there's so many quotes, and the Timmy references as well, the stuck in the well as well. Lassie's legendary. So we are opening up the Hall of Fame and letting Lassie strut right on in.
I know we wanted to switch it up a little bit. I was just the wells around the Fandom Podcast Network studios are a little bit more tricky than not, Kevin. So I'm just trying to protect you. So, well, let's hit up a few honorable mentions before we get into our nominations. So let me throw out a few for you here, Kevin. First off for me is Togo.
Yes.
I am sorry. Still.
Pardon me. Hold on. I'm going to go over here and cry for a second.
Okay. And he lived, ladies and gentlemen.
I'm sorry, but that end scene with the picture of the real Togo and the guy, oh man, waterworks, dude. And by the way, like I said before, the dog, they don't show the dog dying. The dog passes away at old age, but you don't see that. So yeah.
Kevin, I'm just going to say this. I'm going bold statement cotton time.
Bold statement? Okay, I love bold statements. Do it.
The puppy that plays Togo when he's young might be just as cute as this guy right here. It's a child.
I don't know about that.
I don't know. It's
not definitely cute, but not cute as Baby Yoda. Sorry.
Yeah, I just don't know if you can snuggle Baby Yoda as much as you could
True.
Togo.
Yeah, that puppy they got for Togo. Togo's a great film. It's on Disney Plus. Check it out. It is just a great. It's based on a wonderful true story about the sled dogs in Alaska, and everyone thinks of Balto. Balto was part of this, but there was someone else, and of course, that was Togo.
Yeah. Also, too, the Husky team from the movie Eight Below with Paul Walker.
I saw that once. That was a fun movie, but I've never seen it since.
Yeah, it was actually, I believe, based off of a true story where they had to leave, and he left his Husky team in Antarctica, and then like I said, roughly based on a true story, had to go back and rescue them.
Oh, very cool. Gotcha.
So, and lastly, Kevin, this one's for you, and for you,
God,
longtime
I can't
culture
believe you put this on the list.
This is for your longtime Culture Clash listeners, and for Michael Morris, if you're out there. Chomps.
Explain Chomps.
Okay. Chomps is a corny late 70s movie starring Valerie Bertinelli. And there was a trial many years ago on Culture Clash because we had to test Kevin's 80s card because he had never seen V.
Yes.
So we brought in Judge Michael Morris, who, by the way, wasn't even born when V came out. But yeah, that's another story.
Yep.
And Kevin's punishment was I got to pick a movie he needed to watch. So I sent him a DVD copy of Chomps.
Actually, I think I ordered it on Amazon. I ordered it because I found it at J. So, but right. Chomps is about what, Kyle? That's what I was getting at.
It's about a guy who creates a robot dog.
Yes. And very cute. Severely dated.
Yeah, I won't give you that. It is severely dated.
And I told Kyle about this. We talked about it on an episode of Culture Clash. And Kyle, I got my revenge, didn't I?
Oh, we don't talk about that.
Okay, yeah, you don't want to talk about that on Culture Clash Live?
No.
Okay, all right.
We don't want to do that to the people.
Okay, so Chomps, do you want me to name a few now?
Yeah, well, you throw out a few.
Okay. So I also mentioned Togo, by the way. Great film. But here's a film I remember seeing on some movie channel years and years ago. And I grew up, and I'm still a Dodger fan. But what's interesting was there was a film that came out in 1951 called Rhubarb. And Rhubarb was about a cat, a good luck cat to a then fictional Brooklyn team. It wasn't supposed to be the Dodgers, but everyone kind of knew it was the Dodgers. And it was about this cat that brought the team good luck and started winning. And the owner of the team adopts this feral cat and becomes an affectionate pet. But what's funny though is that there's this whole like caper thing. People find out about it from the opposing team. I think they try to kidnap him and stuff. And it's a really cute film. It stars Ray Milland and Jan Sterling. And it's a black and white film. It's a classic film, and it's one of my favorites. I would love to actually watch it again. I really enjoyed Rhubarb, so that's why I had to throw Rhubarb in there. It's a deep cut, but I had to throw it in there. What else do I have here? Oh, speaking of cats, I love cats. Mm-hmm. Jonesy in Alien and Aliens. Come on, Jonesy survives a couple of alien attacks here. Of course, then unfortunately is... what happens to Jonesy, Kyle?
He actually gets left behind in Aliens.
Yeah. Not a fan of that. Yeah.
Well, better than what he would have had if he made it to Alien 3.
I know, right? This also was mentioned in the chat too. Rin Tin Tin, one of the other famous dogs. Popular in the 30s and 40s series as well. And I think, and then he made a comeback as well. Another famous dog, paved the way for Lassie, I would say.
Yeah, I would say so. I'm gonna hit up the cats here, Kevin.
Okay.
I got actually 4 because I'm adding one in that I meant to put in and I've just remembered about it. But first, the cat from the movie Cat's Eye, because this cat was a bad MFing cat because it took out that little troll that was trying to take Drew Barrymore away from us.
I'm going to trust your opinion because I have not seen Cat's Eye.
You need to see Cat's Eye. You're a Drew Barrymore fan.
Did you say a cat took out a troll? I'm intrigued.
Yeah, a cat took out a little troll that was trying to steal the oxygen from Drew Barrymore.
Okay.
The next is the cat from Pet Cemetery because it's creepy as all get out, but it's still pretty famous.
I assume from the 80s Pet
Yeah.
Cemetery, not from the recent one, right? Yes.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Cool.
Also,
cool.
I got to throw in the cat from outer space.
Right. We talked about that. Yeah. I need to see this on Disney. I feel like watching this movie now.
Yeah. Yeah. You should. Yeah. When we're done here, you should. But one I forgot to put in my nominations list. Goose the cat from Captain Marvel.
Oh yes, Goose the cat. Well done. Yeah.
Nick Fury's favorite feline.
Now we know why he wears the patch.
Yep. Also, too, I'm just going to run through for time's sake here real quick. The bear from BJ and the Bear, which was, of course, a chimp. We talked about it earlier. Darwin from Seaquest. And Eddie the dog from Frasier.
Good choices. Okay. Here's the rest of my honorable mentions. Hedwig in the Harry Potter series.
Absolutely.
Beautiful bird. Hedwig. I mentioned both John Wick dogs. Got to mention both of them because if we don't have those, John Wick is a little less interesting. Marcel the monkey from Friends. They tried it, worked a season out, and probably got a little annoying. But come on, Marcel the monkey. Everyone loved him, right? Maybe. I don't know.
Kevin, I'm just going to pay attention because one of your honorable mentions is somebody who I have in a nominations list.
Gotta look. Oh, okay. I think I see.
It's a feline.
It's a feline. Yes, thank you. I will not mention that one. Okay, here we go. Pete the pup from Our Gang, Little Rascals.
Yep.
I mean, the classic, was it Bull Terrier? I think it is, with a little circle around his eye. We love Pete the dog. Come on. Love Pete the dog. And I'm surprised this was not on your list, Kyle.
And as soon as I saw it on your list, I was like, how could I have forgotten? Bring this up. Name it.
Who can forget Murray in Mad About You? Murray the dog. And why did we like Murray the dog, Kyle?
Because Murray was Murray. I mean, in the sliding across the apartment.
But he was always chasing something.
Yeah. Let's just be honest. The real stars of Must See Thursday at this time were Eddie and Murray.
Yes. Yeah. I loved Murray. He was always running into the wall, chasing something, but it was always off screen, and you hear the thunk.
Well, let's not forget Murray also too ate a whole turkey by himself.
This is true. And last but not least, Silver from the Lone Ranger, the famous horse. Hi-oh, Silver! Show I used to watch all the time.
Yep. So let's get into the nominations, Kevin.
Yes.
And if you don't mind, I would like to go first because to me, when I hear one phrase, it takes me back to everything. Kevin, Right Turn, Clyde. Clyde
yes.
From Every Which Way But Loose.
And Every Which Way You Can. He was in a couple of films. Was it 3 or 2? I can't remember.
Probably the only real co-star that could maybe outshine Clint Eastwood in a film.
Yeah. And there's the famous scene where he pretends to shoot a gun with his hand, and Clyde plays dead. It's great. So yeah.
Of course, in real life, that was Manus the orangutan, who actually has his own IMDb page.
Oh, he's famous. Nice. Okay.
This was late 70s, early 80s for these films. I think Clyde is iconic.
He is iconic.
I mean,
he is on my list as well, man. So yeah.
So anytime, I'm sorry, when I hear Right Turn Clyde, it takes me right there.
Yep.
So who have you got to throw out on the nominations?
I'm gonna throw out Buck from Married with Children. How funny was Buck? You actually got to hear his thoughts, and he was ravaged with his thoughts at times, man. He was great. He was cute as well. Love Buck from Married with Children.
Yep. Next up for me is Salem the cat from Sabrina the Teenage Witch, of course, voiced by the comedian Nick Bakay. Now, this is one of those times where we had a real cat and we had a puppet cat because of some of the things they would have Salem do. But
yes,
Nick Bakay got very famous from this role.
Yes, and did he also go on to Futurama? Was he on Futurama? Or was he something else?
Did. I think it might have been something else, but he did a lot of Sports Center stuff too during this time frame.
That's right. This almost made my nominations. I loved watching Sabrina the Teenage Witch, and that cat was funny. He stole the show.
Yeah, Nick Bakay is a great comedian. So what about you, Kevin? What's next on your nominations?
Elvis the alligator from Miami Vice. Who has a pet alligator? I love this. And he was like the security consultant to Crockett on his boat, you know.
Yeah. Only Miami Vice. I got to give him credit for that one.
I love I seriously, Kyle, I thought Elvis was fascinating because I loved this show and I wanted to see Elvis all the time.
Yep. I'm not going to argue. Elvis was good. I'm going to get one that pulls on the heartstrings a little, Kevin, but the performance was so phenomenal, and that is Marley from Marley and Me.
Jennifer Aniston, right?
Owen Wilson too.
And Owen Wilson, yeah. I saw that. That was a tough watch.
Yeah, but that dog was just stole your heart in that movie.
Yeah. He's really cute. That's a good one, man. I like that one. I'm kind of surprised people miss this because he was in a movie, or technically Grumpy Cat. You're like, wait a minute. He was like a YouTube sensation. He wasn't. I mean, he wasn't in an actual movie or TV, but no, he was in a movie. Grumpy Cat's Worst Christmas Ever in 2014, played by the lovely kitty Tater, who was actually a female cat, and who did not love Grumpy Cat? I want to give a special shout out to my buddy Matt Lush, who loves Grumpy Cat, actually has met Grumpy Cat and has a picture with Grumpy Cat, and I'm really jealous. But I got to mention Grumpy Cat, man. He was famous. This Grumpy Cat, come on, man.
Yep. I don't know. Grumpy Cat was everywhere. That is for sure. Next up on my list, though, Kevin, I'm going to stretch it here, but I got to. Bruce the Shark.
Bruce the Shark, yes.
Jaws. Because I'm sorry, I know it was an animatronic shark. You couldn't tell. Even now, that is one amazing effect. And how many people were scared to go in the water after Bruce?
Dude, no. They got the shark right. They did. And, you know, even when you see him at Universal Studios and he's not real, he's still pretty intense, you know, and it scared so many people. And Bruce was great. I love the fact they named him Bruce.
Yeah. So, Bruce was also very temperamental in the film, but that's a whole issue. What do you got next there?
I'm going to go with Benji.
Yeah.
Benji is probably in the top 3 of most famous dogs of all time, with probably our Hall of Famer Lassie and maybe Rin Tin Tin. Would you say?
I think you kind of tend to group Lassie, Benji, and Rin Tin Tin together because they all had TV shows and movies and stuff like that.
Yeah.
So yeah. In fact, Benji's on my list. I'm fine if Benji follows up Lassie and goes in.
I'm gonna do it right now. Benji goes into the Hall of Fame animals. All right, we got Benji.
Yep. My next nomination, I'm going again on the aquatic side, Kevin, because they call him Flipper.
Yep.
And I got a shout out to, because this is local and that should have been on my nominations list, Winter the Dolphin, who's actually real dolphin. I've seen Winter the Dolphin.
Can I just interrupt you for a way? Jennifer said something funny in the chat. He was a little less lifelike in Jaws 19.
I bet they did a great 3D image of him in, what was it, Jaws 22 for that hologram.
Oh my God, that was so funny. That's a good one, Jennifer. Thank you.
But no, I got to give a quick shout out to Winter the Dolphin, because that is an actual real animal local to here in my area.
Flipper?
Water. Well, Flipper, yes, but Flipper's my nomination, but I just wanted to give a shout out to Winter the Dolphin, who should have been on my honorable mentions list.
Okay. Well, I just want to go back to Flipper because Flipper is also on my nomination, and I'm fine with putting Flipper right into the Hall of Fame because of how popular that TV series was. And it opened me up to more of aquatic life and, you know, being careful of it as well and caring for it.
Yeah. Question for you though. We don't really have a pool in the Fandom Hall of Fame. Is Flipper okay hanging out in the water pit with Godzilla?
Yeah, they'll get along fine.
Yeah,
they'll get along fine. Okay, so Flipper goes in?
Yeah, Flipper goes in.
All right.
What have
Flipper
you got?
is in the Hall of Fame.
Kevin, I think, you know, we're going through this pretty quick. You've got, I think, only one we haven't mentioned yet on your list.
Yeah. Well, I mean, you've kind of mentioned it in passing, but
Yeah.
yeah, one of the most famous movie dogs of all time, Toto,
Yes.
and famous enough to get memorialized in that L.A. cemetery that I spoke of.
Yeah.
In one of the most famous movies of all time, mentioned several times. I mean, come on, Toto, man.
Yeah,
Toto.
I'm gonna be honest with you. The only reason why I didn't put Toto on my list is because I just wanted to have a little bit more variation here.
Understood. Yeah.
So, but you know what? I'm also fine with Toto going in because I mean,
I am too. All right. Toto goes in. Toto's in the Hall of Fame. Okay, so here we
yeah.
are. We've got Lassie, walk in, of course.
Mhm.
We've voted on Benji, Flipper, and Toto. We've got 3 more spots.
Okay, well, the last on my list that we haven't discussed is Mr. Ed.
Mr. Ed.
Who got a great resurgence in the 90s when Nickelodeon started showing a lot of old TV shows in their afternoon block and then eventually going to Nick at Night. And a lot of people kind of got on that Mr. Ed train again, and Mr. Ed became very popular in the 90s again.
Yes, that's very true. By the way, I think I'm confusing some of the comments here between Jennifer and Nathaniel. So I apologize, Nathaniel, or apologize, Jennifer. They're tapping so fast back and forth. It's tough to keep up.
Or just a whole other conversation. We're out of it. Yeah. So I am nominating Mr. Ed.
You know, I think Ed is so huge. It's one of the most famous horses of all time. You could say Black Stallion, of course, but Mr. Ed it was funny. And plus, when you learn that they fed Mr. Ed peanut butter to make his lips move was kind of funny. I'm fine with Ed going in.
Okay, let's put Mr. Ed in. That leaves us with 2 spots, Kevin. And
All
I think we know where one of them has to be because we both agree on this.
Would that be Clyde?
That would be Clyde.
Yes, Clyde the orangutan from Every Which Way But Loose. All right, so we've got Clyde, Mr. Ed, Toto, Flipper, Benji, and Lassie. And we have room for one more off
Kevin,
our nominations.
I'm gonna say we haven't put any of the felines in. I'm throwing in my nomination of Salem the cat.
You know what? We do need a cat on this list. We really, really do. Okay, let me ask you this. What could be one of the more famous cats than Salem?
Garfield.
What's that?
Yeah, I know.
Garfield did get a movie. It was animated.
Yeah.
But if it was better.
Really, I think the 2 most famous cats are Grumpy Cat and Salem.
Yeah.
I think Salem's Hollywood body of work is probably a little bit more than.
You know what? I'm going with Salem. I agree with you. Salem the cat, buddy. There we go.
Yep.
All right. There we go.
Yeah.
So here we go. We got Salem the cat, Clyde the orangutan, Mr. Ed the horse, Toto, dog, Flipper, of course, Benji, and Lassie. Most famous live action animals on movies and television. What do you guys think we did? Let me hear it from the group.
Yeah, we want
for Nathaniel. What do you guys think? Adam, you still around?
I do like Nathaniel's one last minute nomination, the Clydesdales.
Oh yes, you were always looking for that Super Bowl commercial with the Clydesdales as well, if I remember correctly.
And of course, you cannot mention the Clydesdales without their role in the movie Kroll as well.
That's true. Nathaniel said Zorro's horse. I don't remember the name of Zorro's horse.
Nah, I can't think of it. But I think they played up Zorro's horse a lot more in the Antonio Banderas film for some comedy gags in that.
Yeah. Jennifer also said the damn cat from Hocus Pocus. I got to watch that again. I can't remember. But anyway, there we go. I think that was a good list. That was fun to do, man.
Yeah, that was fun to do. So
yeah.
But I'm looking at the clock here. I think we've probably tortured the people with our faces long enough, Kevin.
Yeah, we're running on an hour and a half here-ish, but I think it was a good show. It was fun. Our first time doing not Facebook Live, but YouTube Live.
Yeah, YouTube Live on the YouTube channels.
Jennifer said the dogs win.
No, the cats always win in the end.
Yeah. They find a way, yes.
Yes. So with that, as always, I'm going to quote the prophets. Be excellent to each other. And as we like to say around here, enjoy your fandom. We'll see you next time live. on our
Goodbye,
YouTube
everyone.
channel.
Thanks for watching us on YouTube, and we'll be doing this again.
And I am ending the Zoom. I want to thank everybody who was listening, and we will see you hopefully next time.
Yes. Thank you, guys.